In the early 80s, this artist came home for lunch and he checked his answering machine. Couldn't believe his ears. One of the biggest movie stars in the world told him to call him right back. I mean, he thought it was someone trying to prank him. But when he called back, it was really him. Now, this movie star wanted him to write and record the theme to a sequel to one of the greatest franchises ever. Apparently, Queen had turned him down. This movie star, this icon, was willing to give his band a chance, even though they'd never had a hit. Coming up next, the co-writer tells one of the greatest stories that I've ever heard in any interview about a song. About one of our generation's greatest anthems. It's coming up on Professor of Rock. Hey, music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. You know, if you want to go back in time and experience your richest memories through music, the stories behind the songs, this is your channel. Stories straight from the legends. We also have a Patreon. You gotta check it out. Cool stuff you won't find anywhere else. And get our new merch, including our latest Vintage Years collection. Click on the link below for that. So it's time for another edition of our series, Revelations. This is where artists and bands take us for a deep dive into their greatest songs and their greatest albums. Facts and information, stories you won't find anywhere else. Today, we have the story of one of the greatest anthems of the 80s, or any decade. A song that every 80s kid knows by heart. I'm talking about Eye of the Tiger by Survivor. Jim Peterik tells us the story of how Sylvester Stallone pitched his answering machine and offered this up-and-coming band, Survivor, who was scrapping for their first hit since nothing had happened for him yet. And Stallone had actually been rejected by Queen. He wanted to use Another One Bites the Dust. Another one bites the dust. So out of this came the anthem of the decade, a #1 hit. But the struggle to get there in how they had to write the perfect lyric and how they had to place it in the film, all is really astonishing. For my money, it's got to be one of the greatest stories of a song from any interview I've ever done. It's just a blast. Here's Jim Peterik with the story. Survivor formed in '78. You have your first top 40 hit with Poor Man's Son, which went to number 33. And then Destiny hits. You come home, turn on the answering machine, a couple messages go by.
Right.
Somebody that sounds like Sylvester Stallone. Tell us that story.
Hey, yeah, literally, I listened to my sister's message, this and that, and then I hear, hey, yo, Jim, give me a call. It's Sylvester Stallone. I go, yeah, right. Come on.
You thought it was your tour manager,
I thought it was our
right?
tour manager, Sal, because he was Italian and kind of sounded that way, And I played it for Karen. By the way, Karen was the girl that I wrote Vehicle for.
Yeah.
47 years later, I'm still her vehicle.
I know.
Yeah,
that's
married
so
that long, and she's...
That's like 150 years in entertainment.
I know, that's like dog years, man. But yeah, she's my toughest critic and my biggest fan.
Yeah.
And she's awesome. And I played it for Karen. She said, you better call him back. Yeah, that's Stallone, Okay. So I dialed the LA number and I go, hi, is this really, this is Jim Peterik. Is this Sylvester Stallone? He goes, yeah, Jim, call me Sly. Sly. I said, here I am calling my hero, Sly, because Karen and I couldn't have been bigger fans of the first Rocky and the second Rocky.
Oh, yeah.
So it was a surreal moment. No secretary, no nothing. It was him that answered the phone. He answers yo, by the way. He doesn't say hi.
Right.
Or hello.
Yo. Hey, yo, Mike.
Yo, Tony.
Go, Adrian. Yo, Adrian. It's me, Rocky. Go, Adrian.
So he said, man, I love your band Survivor. Tony Scotti, the record company president, played me the song Poor Man's Son. That's the sound I want for my new movie, Rocky 3. Can you help me out?
He's like, I want something street.
Something street,
Yeah.
Dick Bickler, he's got that street sound.
And something for the kids,
You know the story better than I do. So I want something for the kids. That was when I was a kid, so I could do that.
Well, also, they wanted something different than Gonna Fly Now.
Yep.
You grabbed the Beatles piano book.
Yes, I still have that too.
That Karen had.
I still have that.
You turned it around and you wrote all those notes down.
I did, yeah. And his phone number's on there, and I misspelled Stallone, and it was just crazy. I still have
those
that.
ideas. And then when you called him, or the message said, yo, because answer machines were a new thing back then.
Oh, yeah.
And he kind of said, nice message.
Yeah, that was the first thing he said. Nice message you got there, Jim. That's really funny. But, he said, I'm going to send you the rough cut of the movie. Actually, at first he said, I'm going to send you the first 3 minutes. So the first 3 minutes comes, and I had to rent this giant Betamax recorder.
Yeah.
The Pro, set it on my kitchen counter, call Frankie Sullivan over, guitar player in the band. And we watched this opening montage, and Mr. T's rising up and Stallone's getting soft doing MasterCard commercials, And we turned the volume on, and it's boom, boom, boom. Another one bites the dust. I call up Stallone. Hey, Sly, you got a song already. What are we doing?
Yeah, like, this is perfect.
He said, turn down the sound. I can't use it. I couldn't get the publishing rights. Thank God.
I know.
I think
Queen was one of your favorite bands.
Oh, yeah. Queen was amazing. But I thank him for turning that one down.
Oh, yeah.
That gave us a shot at the title song.
But also, you had like this, I read this in your biography. This is so cool. You're like, man, how are we going to top this? I mean, it's Queen, Another One Bites the Dust, one of the greatest songs of all time. And that was your challenge.
That was the challenge.
That was like in the front of your mind the whole time.
That was the Rocky challenge, man.
Yeah.
It was meant to be. But, I got that. I had my Les Paul around my neck, and it started going, dooga, 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 dooga. We had the pulse of that thing. And I saw the punches being thrown. I go, bop, 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 A minor, bop, 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 bop. Wait for a punch. Bop, bop, bop. Which screws up all the drummers all the time.
I know.
But I was trying to score the punches with the chords.
Yeah.
So we got that far, and I look at Frankie, where do we go from here? So I called up Stallone, Sly, hey, Jimbo. Yeah. By this time, I'm pretty comfortable. And I said, man, you got to send us the whole movie. Oh, I can't, man. They wouldn't let us there. If it got out, you got to send it. Do you want your song, So the next day, FedEx comes. We watched that whole movie. Frankie comes over again. And that's when the whole
trust.
thing.
I mean, this is back in the 80s.
I know. That was, he knew. But you got to send it right back. We did. Anyway. So, that's when the whole thing made sense. And the dialogue was all there.
And that inspired parts of the song. I mean, including the title. Eye of the Tiger, when Apollo says, Eye of the Tiger, man, Eye of the Tiger, when he's talking to Rocky.
Got to get that look back, Rock. Eye of the Tiger, man. Eye of the Tiger, come on.
He's going, Rocky, you're losing the eye of the tiger, And I look at Frankie, go, Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah.
If we don't call it that, we're idiots, And that's when it all started. The next day, Frankie and I got together to try to pound out the lyrics. And he came up with the first seed of the lyric. He said, back on the street, doing time, taking chances. I go, wow, that sounds cool. I said, how about rising up, back on the street, did my time, took my chances. And then we were off to the races. Rising up, back on the street. I was a jogger, and I still am. And as I was racing down the street, I'm thinking of Rocky training, and I'm writing lyrics like crazy, I still got all the rough drafts, and the stuff crossed out. And in fact, that's in my Hall of Shame. That original thing, I had this one line, rising up, ready to spring. No, no, you don't want to spring in this song. But
you went to the piano too, and it had an R&B feel to it.
It did, yeah.
That's what really makes the song go, in my opinion.
It is R&B. Nobody realizes that.
It really is, yeah.
And that combined with Frankie's sensibility on guitar, it just was magic. 5 days later, we're at Chicago Recording Company recording the demo. And, oh man, one take.
Because you guys all hit your parts. He came in at the end there in that one take. I mean, that vocal.
Oh, my God.
Incredible.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but you probably do because you know more than I do. But the version you hear in the movie is the demo.
Yeah.
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 Which, and it's so close. It's so close. I know the differences. But the normal person may not know that. Nor would he know that the sound quality is not nearly as good as the master. But what's funny, it took us like a day and a half to record the demo. And then we went to Rumbo and we're recording the album. And, Frankie was really the proponent. Jim, we got to recut this. I said, it's fine. It's got the feel. Yeah, but it was recorded, quickly. And, well, great. And we did. We beat the original. But it took us a month to do it, because the magic was, you've heard of demoitis.
Oh, yeah.
When you're fired up, you do a take and it's magic. Then you do the real version in a real studio.
Oh, yeah.
And it's tough, but it worked out great. So we got the sound quality and we got the emotion of it.
It was great how you took the different pieces of the dialogue and found that depth in it. And I want to talk about some of the lyrics that become like part of the pop culture lexicon,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like trade your passion for glory.
Yeah.
Don't lose your grip on the dreams of the past. Must fight just to keep them alive. I mean, that has been like the mantra for so many people.
You must fight just to keep them alive.
Well, you know, that song was my mantra. It really was. And I still use that song when I get depressed or in the dumps or in a situation that, you know, like, how do I get out of this one? We still go, everybody goes through that stuff. And for me, the key line is rising up to the challenge of your rival. As much as you'd love to think the whole world loves you, you're going to have rivals. You're going to have people that are not your best friend, you know, and you got to stand up.
The chorus was great because you thought you had to rhyme survival and tiger. Tell me about that.
Well, yeah. Before we really had settled on the title, Eye of the Tiger, I was calling it survival. And hence the inner rhyme of rising up to the challenge of your rival. And the last note, survivor stalks his prey of the night. And the name of the game is survival.
Survival.
Yeah. And something else, I don't care if it rhymes exactly. Nobody complains so far, you know. So it became Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah. And that chorus is just one of the greats of all time.
Thank you.
I just love it. But the other thing is the last verse. When you brought it to Stallone, to Sly, he said,
he says, you got a little lazy on me. That was the quote. And we go, oh, man, damn. You know, but we were very clever because we took a lot of the pieces of the first verse.
You did.
And that was good because there was familiarity to it. And yet
it's like you're coming back, though. That's what I love about the song is it's a 3-act play.
Yeah.
The verses are each an act in life, what we go through.
Well, that's true. And in the first verse, of course, rising up, back on the street, did my time, took my chances. Then it becomes rising up straight to the top. Had the guts, got the glory.
Yep.
Went the distance, and I'm
not going to stop. Just a man and his will to survive.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You know, every line means something in that song. And when Stallone called us about a year and a half later, we were on the road with REO, said, hey, you guys got to do it again. Rocky IV, we need the title cut. The point is, we knew that every line in Burning Heart had to be great too. You can't have a deadline, because Stallone is a brilliant script writer. He has no deadlines in his scripts.
No.
And you can't have it in the song. So we knew the expectations were really high.
Yeah. And it won a Grammy. Sadly, you weren't there. I read that.
I know. That was
home with cold
heartbreaking.
Pizza.
Heartbreaking.
Watching yourself win the Grammy, not being there.
I know.
Oh.
It was tough. You know, it was a kind of a call of solidarity because they wouldn't send the whole band invites. And, you know, there's certain members of the band that felt that it's got to be the whole band.
Yeah.
But it was bittersweet.
But of course, nominated for an Oscar, which Siskel and Ebert, I remember as a kid rooting for it.
They predicted
it would win.
Yes,
and I thought it would because, I mean, it was my favorite song as a kid. I remember buying the 45, you know, and playing it until it wore out. Now my kids are listening to it, you know.
God, you know, every generation seems to discover that song.
I know.
I love that. But I remember sitting in the audience with my wife, Karen, and Frankie and his wife, Gloria. And, you know, it's that moment when you're waiting, and I had the speech all prepared. You know, of course you have to. And they say, and the winner is Love Lift Us Up Where We Belong. I go, oh, it's a great song though. I couldn't begrudge it.
Love lift us up where we belong.
The Oscars were so weird in the 80s with Best Original Song because they would have other people perform the songs. Like Phil Collins didn't get to perform his own song. And
you know who did Eye of the Tiger?
Temptations.
The Temptations. They're doing these
with the dance and
these spiffly, you know, these
it was bad.
And we're like, oh god,
I know.
Uh,
The other thing too is that Jane Fonda You actually went up to her.
This is great. This is at
Yeah.
the People's Choice Awards.
Tell me about that.
And that was a great award because it literally is the People's Choice. It's not the critics or anything or the Academy. And we knew we were going to get the award. There's no surprise there. They tell you. And there's these big round tables, and I'm sitting there with the band, and over here is my one of my heroes or heroines, Jane Fonda. Because Karen and I, we would go in the living room every day and work out to the Jane Fonda thing, you know. Sounds silly now, but it was a great workout.
No, everybody did that in the 80s.
So I go up to her and I said, Jane, I'm Jim Peterik. You know, I Survivor, Eye of the Tiger, that's my song. I want to tell you, I work out to your Jane Fonda workout. That's really nice because I work out to Eye of the Tiger.
I love that.
It made my day.
Well, let's talk about his impact on pop culture. I mean, of course, in Rocky III, the way they used it was so incredible because very first of the movie, setting up the movie perfectly, where you see him, like you said, Mr. T, Clubber Lange, you know, doing his thing. And Rocky's like enjoying the riches of what he's done and letting his guard down.
Sure.
And it sets up the entire movie.
Yep.
And it really became that montage that everybody copied after that, right?
That's true. It's an iconic montage. But when it was time to make the music video, this was the very early days of
MTV.
I remember that the film company wanted us to do a video where it would be intercut scenes from Rocky III and us performing the song, which was a very, very cool idea. But Frankie had this idea of creating a video where we become the Rocky story. And it shows us, you know, rehearsing in a dingy, you know, warehouse, walking down the street, like we're going to make it, you know?
Yeah.
And then finally at the end, you know, the lights and the cameras, and we're doing Eye of the Tiger. So it became like a mini Rocky story. I just wish I didn't wear that big white sweatshirt. You know, when you're a little overweight, you don't wear a big white sweatshirt. I still can't watch that video.
But Weird Al, Raya the Kaiser.
The best.
What'd you think of that when that
at first,
happened?
when we got the request from Al's people, it was like, man, this is our grand anthem. And he's making it a song about a deli owner, you know.
About Rocky, you know, owning a deli later on in
It's
his years.
hilarious.
I know.
You know, stay away from the tuna. It smells funny today.
Yeah.
And do you want your corned beef on the rye or the Kaiser? Ba, ba, ba.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So today, his deli comes first.
At the end of the day, my manager called and said, you know what, Jim, you got to approve this. Michael Jackson just approved.
Eat it.
Eat it.
Yeah.
Just eat it. Eat it. Get yourself
If he can do it, you can do it. I called Frankie, no problem.
Oh, yeah.
So every royalty statement, I see it near the end. Theme from Rocky 13, X amount of dollars.
I love it. You said it so perfectly. It's simplicity with a message.
Right.
I love that. Right?
That's what it is. I mean, it would have been really easy to glitz it up and add, you know, guitar solos and lavish strings and this and that. The beauty of it is there's only a few elements going on at that time. And it makes you focus on the words and the beat.
And the timing of it. Like you said, that guitar part.
Yeah.
That was so brilliant because you're timing it to the punches. But
Right.
when you're listening to a song, you're kind of focused on it. But then when something like, you're like, what the heck is that? That's what that song does to you every time.
Right. And I knew it was going to throw people off, especially drummers. But I knew it had to be there. But it's such a simple, really a simple song and a simple arrangement. And
But a huge message.
yeah, it is. And to me, as a songwriter, the best gift I can get is the stories that people come up to me and people that have beaten cancer and gotten up from wheelchairs or going across the finish line at a marathon with that song on constant shuffle play.
Yeah.
You know, whatever it is, the positive message, I can't have a better gift than that.
I want to end on the story about the 5-year-old at the pizza place. That's kind of when you knew that I got something here. Tell us that story.
Yeah, you know, it's one thing, you know, going to the Hollywood premiere of Rocky and you're on the red carpet with all these famous people. And they show the film, and the people are applauding. And it's very nice, but those aren't real people. I mean, they're industry people. I mean, they are. You know what I mean? And it wasn't really until I was on the road with Survivor, and we still didn't know if this was going to be a mega smash or not. And I was kind of a loner on the road a lot of times, so I went to a Pizza Hut. And I remember, or it was a Shakey's, one of those brilliant places. I think it was Shakey's. It was on a lower level, and they had a jukebox, and someone played "Eye of the Tiger," and I'm going, cool. Of course, nobody knows me from Adam. And this little girl jumps up. She's like 5 years old. "Mommy, Daddy, they're playing my song. They're playing my song." She went to the dance floor, starts twirling around and punching. And I go, this is going to be huge.
Maybe I'm in here with the wrong guy.
So Dave Bickler was so explosive on Eye of the Tiger and other Survivor songs from that time that he blew out his voice, messed up his voice. Shortly after Eye of the Tiger hit #1, he developed polyps on his vocal cords, and he had to have surgery and voice rest. And it was a condition that took years to recuperate from. And even then, Bickler's voice wasn't quite the same. And sadly, Survivor fired him. They had to move on. But 10 years later, in 1993, he rejoined Survivor as a lead vocalist for a Greatest Hits album that had 2 new songs, You Know Who You Are and Hungry Years. Leave us a comment about Eye of the Tiger. What are your memories of this song? I mean, from 1982 to 1988, they killed it, Survivor did. Why did they never have another hit after that? Why do you think? I'm curious to get your take. What do you think? Is Eye of the Tiger the greatest movie anthem ever? If not, what is? Let me know in the comments. If you dig our content, make sure to subscribe below so you never miss out on a video. We would love to have you as part of this community. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends.